Hi guys, and welcome back to my sweaty kitchen here in Tobago. Yeah, today I actually want to talk a little bit about a woo topic that will really help you bust out of your cage, and this applies whether you are woo or not. So if you are not woo, don't run away, because I'm not really woo either. I'm a little bit woo. I'm like one of those people who like just dips their toes in the woo. I'm more spiritual than anything else, but there's a lot of topics that I find really help me, and pulling a card is definitely one of them. And today actually is one of those days where I was like, this actually could be perfect example why Woo was correct. I hear like some motoring going around outside. Someone might just zoom by in a second. I might duck and hide if they do. This is like, the dinghy is gone, no one's home, go away. Doesn't always stop people. So anyway, this is the one I pulled today. So journaling with tarot cards is fantastic. Whether or not you believe that the tarot cards can divine your future, it doesn't matter, because normally they come with these really fantastic guidebooks. The one I'm looking at right now is The Divine Feminine Oracle by Elizabeth Cleaver Gesseman. I'm assuming I'm pronouncing that right. If I'm not, sorry. And they always come with these fabulous little books, which are like so thick and help you then decide what the card is. Now, some people do it intuitively, like they pull a card. Like I pulled Kali this morning, and Nana, which she is my favorite goddess, Freya. And I'm probably going to say this wrong, and I meant to look this up online beforehand, but then I didn't. So, you know, note to yourself before you gotta go live, or you go on video, because I'm treating these like lives. Yemoya, who is also fabulous. Anyway, how I look at this when I go to decide something, when I have a week coming up and I'm not sure if I should do something, I will pull cards. And this is not necessarily, like I said, that I think the card will tell me necessarily if it's right or if it's wrong. Just looking up Kali now just to show you how fantastic it is. So 64. But the guidance inside can be applied to anything and everything. So her quote, which is here too, is, "I release all that doesn't serve me. It's time to be the truth of who I am." Again, it does not matter if you believe in this or not. This is a quote and something to journal about and to go deeper in, no matter what your personal beliefs are. And I'm rambling a little bit here. I just want to read a little bit here, and it was, she wants us to get terrifyingly real. She wants us to reckon with the fact that we are not here to please others or to make them proud. We are here to listen to the singular call of our own soul. If you know anything about cageology, if you just started stopping in, or if you've been following me for a while, not just in the videos, but with Instagram for a while, because I normally posted everything on Instagram, you know that this is something that I have been talking about since day one that I popped up on Instagram. And I have to admit, it took a Kali-like experience for me to start down that path. Because, you know, you do cling to what's helpful. That's why I call it the golden cage. It's shiny, it's protective, it kind of keeps you inside, and you want to stay there, and you don't want to fight it, and you want to be like, no, I don't want to rock the boat, which is happening right now, because you're kind of going, yeah, but it's so protective. Where I am here right now, I can stay, and I can be safe, and I can wrap myself in a cocoon, and it doesn't serve you. Kali comes eventually, if you do not, you know, sit back and do it yourself. She will blow your life up, and you will be at the bottom, which is why I loved actually that Nana was the next card I pulled. Like I said, you couldn't make this stuff up. It was so good. Whether or not you believe it or not, I'm still like, this is like the perfect card to follow Kali. What a fantastic reading today. You're like, sure, you look like you believe it. I don't not believe it. How's that? Is that, you know, she'll come and she will destroy your life, and she will say to you, stop living for other people. And this is something that cage busting really talks about. And one thing that we really go into, how to do that, how to set the boundaries, how to protect yourself, and also how not to be an ass in the world. Because this is something we've been told, especially as women, that, you know, if you stand up for yourself, that you are being a bitch, you're not being right, you're not being proper, you're being selfish. And such a way to really cut us from our knees is to be selfish. Like, men can be selfish, that's okay, they're doing manly things. When women are selfish though, it's be careful, you might lose your man, and then where will you be? Well, Kali's coming to say, it doesn't matter where you are, she's going to take everything away from you so that you rebuild. And before you get to rebuild though, you get to have Inanna. And hers is, I have nothing to hide, I see and accept all that I am. So when you've been, you know, she has to get naked at every single, well, she has a strip of article of clothing that she identifies with every single gate on her way down to the underworld. So in the end, she's naked, and she's hung on a meat hook and left there for dead. Oh, she is dead, but then she gets brought back to life as a favor from one of the I can't remember her name. It was like two little gods come and help and sit with her sister who was mourning, who may be mourning a death or maybe in childbirth. don't really tell. But as thanks, they grant her something, and they ask that Inanna be released and alive. And the whole point of Inanna is that you need to go down and you need to face the blackness, and you need to face that part of you that doesn't want to be faced, like kind of like hiding because of the sun setting. But again, the kids are gone, so I'm trying to do this the best I can when I can. And that's the whole point with Inanna, and this is why I really love this card. And whether or not you believe or not, this is also something I think that everyone can really look at these cards, and you're in a journaling session, and you ask yourself, you know, how do I combine the light and the dark? How do I take something that's blowing up my life and then go into integrating it, making myself whole, taking that pain and then becoming something else? So whether it is a case of a loss of a job so you can actually be the person you want to be afterwards, a job that's a cage that's keeping you basically because it's well paid, or because it's the social status, or because you've never ever not been that. Maybe you're a nurse and their whole identity is built around being a nurse, and you've realized that you don't want to be a nurse anymore. And then Kali comes and destroys it, and then Inanna tells you to sit down and integrate those lessons that you don't want to integrate. And again, I'll quickly look it up, because again, I showed this tabbed, but you know, it doesn't matter. This is the great thing about starting these things. These are all things that you make a note afterwards. So if you actually wait till following before you do this stuff, people are watching you mess up. And that's one thing that I always say, you should start before you're ready, because no one's watching at that point. So it's less awkward. So when people start watching, you're like, yeah, I've already got this stuff done, including making notes about this stuff. And what I say, so quickly to read what she says here. When we can face what we think is dark or negative about us, I mean really embrace it and see it for what it is, a beautiful broken place that's a call for love, then we can emerge more whole. We can marry the light and dark aspects of our being, and uniting with our twin sister from the depths, we can stop projecting her onto other women. We can see and own the hot mess we often are and not get sabotaged by it. The light must cast a shadow, and the high priestess is the one who gets called to love them both. And then a great meditation, or a great journaling question for this is, can I love my shadow as much as my light? And I think this applies both in terms of who you are as a person, but also in terms of who you are in your life. Can you love the dark times as much as you love the bright times? And this is something that cage-free living kind of asks you to do. It asks you to bust out of that cage and accept that there's going to be mistakes, and there's going to be being broken, and there's also going to be putting yourself back together. And that messy middle is where the wisdom is. That's the whole point of wounds to wisdom transformations, is that you need to go through that to get there. Okay, the next one was Freya, which was also like, man, just kicking my ass with these, but so good. And you need to pull 4. I often pull 3 and then put the one above to kind of like inform all of them, past, future, present, and then overall. But you don't have to. You can do one at a time. It's just that this particular pulling I did this morning was like, you know what, I have like a list of things I want to do with cageology, but this is just too perfect. I need to do it. I spend my time wisely. I only say yes when it's a holy hell yes. I mean, they're beautiful cards. And like I said, unless you're like of a religion that thinks these are evil, in which case you're not watching my anyway. You're not worrying about this. Or maybe you are, and you're like, maybe I don't know, how do I live with my religion and who I am? In which case I would say that your religion should be all about love and not about hate. And if it feels icky and gross, you should be probing those bars and seeing the freedom thieves. And I think a true religion would never ask you not to question some things and to embrace it all whole with a full swallow. I think that's not a religion, that's a cult. So be careful there. Yes. This is what I love in this one. It's not your business to worry about those you might disappoint. You were not made to meet everyone's expectations of you. You were made to express the truth of who you are and to use the brief time you have here to live out your potential. Wow. I mean, if you're really looking at how to break out of your cage and live your boundaries, and how to be someone who's fully alive in the world and willing to take mistakes, but also willing to kind of figure out how to interact with other people, because this is the whole thing, right? When you first start breaking out of your cage, people start going, whoa, who are you? What are you doing? People who counted on you staying small to make themselves big, or even just make their life easier, start looking at you going, who do you think you are? As a Canadian woman, I think that's, there's a reason why Alice Munro wrote a book titled Who Do You Think You Are? Because that is something that takes us out at the knees. Who do you think you are? Actually, I think I am Sherry McCarthy, an artist, a writer, someone who has something to share about living, cage-free living. And if you want to listen, you can. If you don't have to. And that's who I am, and that's what I need to do. And it doesn't matter if there's like 6,000 people watching this video, or 6 or 0. I need to do it anyway to be who I am, and to finally go with, well, and nothing else. I did it. I talked about it. I spoke about things. So that's, again, these cards are fabulous for this. And the last one is Amor Love, which what is it? The goddess of all that flows, which is fabulous for me being on a boat anyway. So the fact that this card was kind of overriding all the other ones, which has been like the last 3 years of my life, period. But then also, I'm an ocean of creative energy. I give birth to what exists within me. What a powerful, powerful, powerful spread. One quick second. Let me see if I can find her again. The set 194. I knew she was close. So she wants to cleanse us of the thoughts that are holding us back. And then she talks about the bath a little bit. Then the return to our first and most primal element, the loss of gravity, the freedom of buoyancy that allows us to release feelings of thoughts of being trapped or stuck. Yamoya reminds you to use your tail. You're not of this earth, you're of the sea. And the journaling question for this is, what do I need to bring from out of the depths into the material world? Which is, again, just fabulous, I think. So again, people are coming by. I don't know. This is my family. Okay, 1 second. That time it was friends bringing food. So, you know, like, I'll accept that. Friends who brought food who also then left, which is also lovely. I can also accept that. Very lovely. So yes, basically what I was going to say is most of the time with tarot decks, there are beautiful, beautiful decks, and you know, you don't have to do a spread. You don't even have, I think that even like with a card, like when you're flipping coins, you know, you want to ask yourself a question, you're like head or tail, and then you get heads and your stomach sinks. Well, you don't need to stick with the heads then. You know that the answer was tails, but the point was that it still worked. You know, it might not have given you the answer you wanted, but it showed you which answer you did want, and that's the one to stick with. And that's what I really love about all these cards spilling everywhere. So this last one pulled out just to end on. Oh, lovely. Perpetua, the saint of authenticity. I am my authentic self in all circumstances. I think that is a perfect way to end. But, you know, again, flipping of the coin, if you flip the coin, you think to yourself, actually, I'm not my authentic self in all circumstances, then there's absolutely no reason to then turn around and start journaling on how to become an authentic self. Because this is one thing that the cage is. The cage is often trapping you. It's a golden cage. It keeps you safe in there because the shine is bright enough that other people look at it and go, wow, that's so fabulous. You look at it and go, wow, at least I have this. It's shiny. It's gratitude to cap instead of catapult, which basically means instead of going, wow, I love this so much and I want more, you go, well, at least I have this and at least I have that. And it could be worse. That's no way to live. If you're living a golden cage life, you're using gratitude to cap yourself. If you're gratituding or catapulting yourself, then you are actually living much more of a cage-free living where you're like going, no, I want this and I want more and I love this and I deserve more. Yes, universe, more please. Thank you. Anyway, this was pretty rambly. I'm going to stop. But basically, this is all kind of circling around the whole idea, which I guess I will eventually get more in depth into as I get myself used to talking about it instead of just having it trapped in my head. I'm much better writing about it than talking about it, but I would like to change that as well because I'm a writer first. Anyway, point is, tarot cards, you can do some fantastic journaling with them. You don't have to believe that it's going to tell your future, although like I said, this was actually a pretty good pull based on everything that cards just play with each other so nicely and everything I believe teach about cageology, and also like I said, the last 3 years of my life since we decided to move onto the boat and start sailing. Think about it, do it. It's fabulous. You don't need to believe it. You just need to look at the journal questions and go deep and start digging out everything in there and finding out what you want, why you want it, and how to go about it. I seriously believe that journaling is a great way to actually investigate all this and go deeper. All right, guys, I'm going to stop rambling. It's 13 minutes this week. I don't know if that's better or worse. See you next week.